Hello everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another video over here on That's Comical, and if you are watching and it happens to be a Wednesday, happy new comic book day. Well, I'm sorry that I took so long, guys. You know, fatherhood has basically been occupying all of my time next to things to do around the house and work, and don't get me wrong, I am really enjoying watching my little girl grow. I cannot get over the fact that she is almost 3 months old. But anyway, today I am finally here to give you guys my thoughts on the newest addition to the MCU, and that of course was the 6-episode show on Disney Plus, Ms. Marvel, starring newcomer to the scene, Iman Vellani, as Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel herself. So, Ms. Marvel, who is she? You probably know her very well because of the fact that Marvel Comics and Marvel Entertainment is literally shoving this character down your throats. It is the girl who comes from Jersey City. She is obsessed with superheroes, and then she finally has the ability to become a superhero herself. And she finds out some very interesting things about her family and her lineage and her past. And that's pretty much who Ms. Marvel is, as far as I can tell. Now, if I'm wrong about that, please hear me out. Do I know who Ms. Marvel is? Yes, I do. I've known about Ms. Marvel for many, many years. Am I someone who reads Ms. Marvel comics? No, I do not. I have seen her appear in some of the comics that I've read in recent years, but no, I've never actually picked up a Ms. Marvel comic book. I know that she has a big cult following. I know that she is popular amongst many comic book fans, and I know that there's also a lot of people who just hate this character, and I'm not even going to get into that conversation because that's not why I'm here. I am here to discuss the MCU version of this character, who apparently has definitely been tweaked for the MCU, much like many of the other Marvel characters in the MCU. So, in this story, we pretty much get her origin, we see how she uncovers the powers, and then she finds out something very interesting about herself at the very end of this show. I will definitely say, as someone who has never read or know too much about Ms. Marvel, that the show was not horrible. I'm not going to say that it's the best show that I've ever seen. I mean, truth be told, I did have a lot of fun with this show. I personally think that the reason why this show was fun to watch was Iman Vellani herself. I loved her as Kamala Khan because this basically was like a cutesy version of Spider-Man. And one of the things that I do know about Spider-Man is that both Peter Parker and even Miles Morales in the comics seem to know who she is and seem to also be kind of palsy-wowsy with her, and I kind of like that. I mean, I know that there have been so many moments right now in the MCU about possibly seeing Miles Morales somewhere down the line, and quite frankly, I will personally embrace that no matter what. But it definitely had a Spider-Man vibe up to like the little pencil sketch animations that we saw in the credit scenes of all the Spider-Man films. And she's definitely chipper, she's definitely fun, she has a good family, she's definitely really funny, and I also really appreciate how she develops learning how to use her powers. It's also very similar to Spider-Man, and I also think that that's the reason why this character connects with so many young readers of this book. But as the story moves on, we really don't actually get a villain. I mean, we find out what she is a part of in regards to her lineage, and then we see how it all happened in the past, and then when she finally develops her powers and becomes a superhero, especially with the way that she gets her costume in the show, it's definitely one of those true, pure comic book moments, because that all started with Superman, and we know what that means, but it was good. It was entertaining. That's definitely what I will say. I do think that one of the problems that the show had was that it really didn't give me a lot of her being a superhero. I mean, there was a lot of character development with her relationship with her friends, with her family, and all of that, but we really didn't get a great overall superhero show, and I feel that that's one of the reasons why the MCU shows that have been currently coming out have been lacking for me. I got the same feelings with Moon Knight. I loved Oscar Isaac as Mark Spector, but we didn't get enough Moon Knight being Moon Knight, and in this show, We didn't get enough Ms. Marvel being Ms. Marvel. I mean, I know this show was basically created to let people know that this character exists and that she is going to be in the sequel to Captain Marvel, which has now officially been called The Marvels, and we are going to see Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Ms. Marvel in this movie, and I am really curious to see how the three of them are going to meet and interact and actually how the movie is going to unfold. But the show lagged a lot. There were a lot of times where I felt that they just didn't know how to give me a great overall episode. I mean, the first episode was great, the last episode was great, but the 4 episodes in between were hit or miss. There were some good moments, there were some dull moments, there were some moments that you're just wondering, where are we going with this story? And it also is really, really hard to do everything that they're trying to do with just 6 episodes. I mean, as of now, I think that the show that really did the best in regards to cramming everything into just 6 episodes was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, some people can debate with me and say that that was Loki season 1, but I'm not a fan of Loki. I'm sorry. And of course, we have to discuss the massive elephant in the room, and that was the last scene before the post-credits scene in episode 6. And let me just say, I didn't understand that post-credits scene at all. Put your comments in the box below and let me know if you can help me out here. But the scene at the very end, and it's been out for a while, we have officially been told that the mutants are coming, because we find out a little something about Kamala, and then we hear a certain song that gets all of us 30 and 40-year-olds excited, and are we really excited about this? Because apparently not that many people are, especially because of the fact that there are all of these rumors about what's going to be happening when the X-Men finally show up in the MCU. There are rumors that they're saying that it's not even going to be called the X-Men, and I gotta admit that that is the worst idea that you can possibly come up with, especially when it comes to the legions and legions of people who are excited to finally see the X-Men show up in the MCU along with the Fantastic Four, like myself. And after a successful run, I will say it was a successful run, with Bryan Singer over at Fox, there were some amazing X-Men films, but then there were not so great X-Men films. But overall, those X-Men stories that we got from Fox were very entertaining, and it was great. It was a great time. But now they're coming to the MCU, and I gotta say, you've really got to put your political feelings aside and just give everybody what they're supposed to get. And that is the X-Men. Not the mutants, the X-Men. Because that is Marvel. End of story. But the interesting thing about Kamala is the fact that they're linking her to the mutants, when in fact, another interesting thing is the fact that she really is, in the comics, an Inhuman, which is actually a mutant. And now that we got the trailer at San Diego Comic-Con for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and we saw a glimpse of Namor the Submariner, who is also a mutant. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen now. And pretty much, that's where we are left in regards to Ms. Marvel, and now we just have to wait to see what happens as she shows up in the films. But this one, I just don't know how to overall feel about all of these MCU shows. I get excited for every single one of them. Like, I am really excited for later on this month to watch She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I'm just anticipating this show to be just so flat-out fun and exciting, especially with Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth returning as Hulk and Abomination. That's going to be fun. And I even got that big surprise seeing Wong showing up. I'm really curious to see how that realm of Marvel is going to fit in with She-Hulk. And then we've got other shows like Ironheart and Secret Invasion. I mean, I'm just curious to see how they're going to wrap these into the MCU, because now I realize that I really do need to be invested in these shows in order to get a better understanding of these characters. But again, I'm not going to say that Ms. Marvel was the worst show I've ever seen when it comes to MCU, but I just wanted more superhero action. I mean, are we just going to get that in the movies and not get that in the shows at all? I don't know, but I don't like that. if you're going to introduce superheroes, you gotta let them be superheroes. That's why I loved the 3 Spider-Man films of the MCU, because even though people love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, and there are some people who do love the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man films, there's just not enough of Spider-Man being Spider-Man in those movies. And the ones for the MCU, we got so much Spider-Man action, and that's what we really want as comic book film fans, and more importantly, comic book readers. But Ms. Marvel, you know what? Continue on with the storyline. Go watch it, see if you like it or if you don't, and feel free to talk to me about it in the comments. But those are my thoughts on Ms. Marvel, and I really hope you understand where I'm coming from. And in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next one.